Hey, I'm Marc Stevens, author of Government Indicted, a website. Of course, you're looking at it. It is markstevens.net, the website, the radio show. I almost forgot how to speak. The No State Project, live every Saturday from 4 to 7 Eastern Standard Time on LRN.FM. And also, we have a 1 hour commercial free Wednesday broadcast. The link is over here on Ustream for now. And that is a 1 hour live. So if you have any criticisms, and you believe that I get my analysis in this article and video wrong, please, 4 hours of Anarchy Radio every week. And we welcome dissent. If you just want to insult me, you can just do that on the forum or on one of the articles. But hey, if you've actually got a valid argument, I'd love to hear it. Love to see some evidence proving that just because we're physically in the U.S., the Constitution applies to us. So I got a quick one here. Somebody posted this article on a skeptic forum. And this is the one with debunking territorial and / personal jurisdiction, why it doesn't exist. And I go through, and I thought I defined my terms. I had it cited, leading to exactly, I have some more proof about my position, that I'm not just pulling it out of thin air, that jurisdiction has to be proven with evidence and witnesses. But someone went and posted it here at the Skeptics. Now, I've got it here, and in the article, I've got everything screen capped, so just in case this goes into the memory hole, this is deleted. We'll check it out. It didn't start out here in conspiracy theories, but somebody posted this here, and things did not go well. Hey, let's just define the terms. Because I'm being called a pseudo-lawyer in some places, even though I've never claimed to be a lawyer. But I think we got some pseudo-skeptics here. And obviously not everybody here, but the ones who did respond to this. It didn't get much traction because it got put in conspiracy theories. So that is just the way we'll get into in just a few minutes, how you poison the well. So if you label something a conspiracy theory, even though it's not, then someone who's a skeptic, an honest skeptic, probably will, still will not even bother to read the article. Oh, it's conspiracy theory crap. But the hell with that. So what we have here is a skeptic is a person who questions the validity or authenticity of something purporting to be factual. Okay? I would also add the obvious that a skeptic is somebody who doesn't believe something just because someone says so. I mean, that's basic common sense and basic logic. Just because somebody claims something is true doesn't mean it is true. You have to have supporting evidence and a rational basis. Then you have a persuasive position or argument. But without that, it's just you saying it. So I was really surprised when you go through, and we will go through this stuff. I was really surprised that these so-called skeptics were actually falling back on that proof by assertion fallacy, thinking something is true just because somebody said it, and actually saying that is the Achilles heel of my entire position, that I believe that just because someone says something doesn't mean it's actually true. I like to think that I am a skeptic. But here's another definition here. I like this one from skeptoid.com. And I think he does a pretty good job here of discussing what skepticism is. That the skepticism is or should be an extraordinarily powerful and positive influence on the world. It is not simply debunking as is commonly charged. Skepticism is about redirecting attention, influence, and funding away from worthless superstitions. Superstitions? Just like there's a state and popular misinformation, such as the laws applying. So what I believe here is that, where is the actual claim that I quoted from here? That skepticism, where the hell is it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Skepticism, this is where I think is the meat and potatoes of it. Skepticism is the process of applying reason and critical thinking to determine validity. It's the process of finding a supported conclusion, a supported conclusion. Let's just blow that up there so it's easy to read in the video. It's the process of finding a supported conclusion, not the justification of a preconceived conclusion. That's why I talk about we don't accept sacred cows here at the No Stay Project. Nothing is nothing is off the table that's been presented on the show. If I present something as true, it damn well is subject to criticism. And if somebody has contrary facts, then we are happy to discuss that. But this is not what is happening right here concerning my work. The very fact that it was put into the so-called conspiracy theory part is evidence that the article wasn't even read. One guy actually did, so I want to put that in there. And we'll get to that in a second. But I think this particular part of skepticism, for some unknown reason, well, I think I know what the reason is. My work is immune from skepticism. Honest skepticism, that is applying reason and critical thinking to determine validity. They don't even do that to my work. One actually tried. He actually, kind of got it right. So we'll get to that. But like I mentioned before, if you actually read the article, you can see it's fully supported here. I'm not pulling things out of thin air. It's all supported. And, from Cornell, which explains the Andy Bernard reference. Duh. That's why some of the guys here, where is it? Yeah. What does Ed Helms have to do with any of this? It was just a reference for Cornell. If you read the damn article, you would know. Or, well, at least watch the video. I don't think it's in the article, but if you watch the video. Anyway, so let's go down. Let's take a look at this crap and see what people are saying here. This is funny, but tragic too. They, see, it's in conspiracy theory, make a great deal of logic and analysis, but one wonders if the law doesn't apply because of jurisdictional issues, then how is it someone can appeal to the law for remedy? Then he tries to get real sophisticated here, but if you don't have a valid argument to start with, you can use all this that you want, it doesn't matter. Well, first thing you have to remember is he's dealing with a non sequitur here. If someone uses a criminal organization for remedy because there's no other remedy available, that doesn't magically mean that their rules apply to anybody. Somebody's just out of remedy. He doesn't have a peaceful remedy given to him because there is a violent monopoly in place there. And I can't help but think of Scott Bales and some of these other ones when you talk about jail. They claim that their laws apply to us because they put other people in prison. Just a fallacious argumentum ad baculum there. So, all right, see what other crap we have. Oh, yeah, then we have just, why is this an education? Is there a GoFundMe to send Stevens back to school? Ha 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 ha! Anti-education. Yeah, this guy is hilarious. Okay, this is where we get to the moderator. Marc Stevens is a small fish in the tiny pond of tax protesters, de-taxers. He has some odd ideas about jurisdiction. My odd idea of jurisdiction is that federal courts are of limited jurisdiction. They only possess that power authorized by the Constitution and statute, which is not to be expanded by judicial decree. It is to be presumed that a cause lies outside this limited jurisdiction, and the burden of establishing the contrary rests on the party asserting jurisdiction. I guess that's considered odd by this moderator. Given this is rich. Given the freeman, sovereign citizen, tax protester elements of Marc Stevens' beliefs, this thread really belongs in conspiracy and conspiracy theory, which is where I will move it, even without Mr. Stevens' consent. I don't know why he felt the need to put that in there because I'm not a part of your forum. So, do whatever the hell you want on your forum. I don't care. If he bothered to read bothered to read my work and watch the videos and whatnot, he would know that I'm, the whole thing about anarchy. I'm not a sovereign citizen. So this is really look, let's say what it is. It's just a means to quash any kind of critical analysis of my work. Nobody's going to actually look at the work and take it seriously because he's claiming that a moderator is claiming I'm a freeman or a sovereign citizen. So So what this is your typical logical fallacy. I think what he's trying to do here. It's called poisoning the well. Poisoning the well is a fallacy where irrelevant adverse information about a target is preemptively presented to an audience with the intention of discrediting or ridiculing everything that the target person has to say. The thing here is, this is false. I'm not this type. I'm an anarchist. I'm a voluntarist. I don't believe that there should be government. Well, I don't think there is any government. The evidence is dead set against it. So he's poisoning the well here. Oh, and I forgot to mention the whole thing about going to prison. Yeah, that's the standard argumentum ad baculum. Well, if you don't follow the laws, they'll put you in jail. But here we have just an old-fashioned poisoning the well. Don't listen to Marc Stevens. He's just one of these crazy conspiracy theory kind of guys. He's just odd. So it's also the classic appeal to ridicule, because we know why they did this. We know why they're putting me in the Freeman Sovereign Citizen group, and that is to ridicule me as if I'm crazy. So appeal to ridicule, an informal fallacy which presents an opponent's argument as absurd, ridiculous, or in any way humorous, to the specific end of a foregone conclusion that the argument lacks any substance which would merit consideration. Yeah, that's what is happening with the moderator. Moderator putting the thread into the Freeman Sovereign Citizen. Hey, here's a clue. Why don't you actually investigate the information and the conclusions and the evidence that I've put forth to support those conclusions before you lump me in? Oh, that's right, because you're a pseudo-skeptic. I'm going after one of your gods. I'm going after something you believe that is demonstrably false. And for some reason, you've got so much invested. This is why I mentioned in the article the power over the thought process of statism over critical thinkers. You may be able to wield those critical thinking skills at religion or some other pseudoscience or something like that, okay? But once it goes against one of your long-held beliefs, and I can demonstrably prove it with citations, with evidence, and solid logic. Freeman! Just ignore Marc Stevens, Freeman. Okay. Then we have this guy here, and his arguments are poor, bearing almost zero relation to actual legal practice and theory. Once again, I cite my terms. I define the terms. Any court possesses jurisdiction only over matters only to the extent granted to it by the Constitution. I'm actually quoting from Cornell law. Territorial jurisdiction is the court's power to bind the parties to the action pursued by the Constitution. Then I quote here. How the hell is that being... If it's a poor argument, then it's not mine. But I don't think it's a poor argument. But to say it bears almost zero relation, what the hell are you talking about? I quoted the U.S. Supreme Court. I quoted Rule 3.1 of the Rules of Professional Conduct that a lawyer shall not bring or defend a proceeding or assert a controversial issue therein unless there is a basis in law and fact. I also have Rule 11 of the Rules of Civil Procedure. Then I talk about prosecutorial misconduct by going outside the evidence. The prosecutor violated a fundamental rule known to every lawyer. Argument, even the argument of jurisdiction, which they had the burden of proving, is limited to the facts in evidence. You think that a skeptic, someone who's a skeptic, would apply reason and critical thinking to determine the validity. No. And then the whole thing regarding, oh, that's right. I believe that there has to be, one of my arguments, I guess, is just pointing out the rules. Rule 602, the need for personal knowledge. Again, I didn't write this. This is the Federal Rules of Evidence, for heaven's sakes. Let's make that a little larger now that we know exactly where that's coming from. We're going to make that there we go. Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 602. A witness may testify to a matter only if evidence, not argument, not legal citations, evidence is introduced sufficient to support a finding that the witness has personal knowledge of the matter. Again, almost zero relation to actual legal practice, because I'm saying that, where is it? A witness has to have personal firsthand knowledge. That has to be evidence, not conjecture, not allegation, not your say-so. So obviously pseudo-skeptic here. You may not like it, but it does bear a pretty good relation to actual legal practice and theory. Okay, what does Ed Helms have to do with anything? Watch the video. He seems to get it right. He's got a lot of it right, but then he seems to ignore all of this. This is because they've poisoned the well. He's not looking at me as an anarchist with a rational background. He's looking at me as a sovereign citizen lunatic. So one of these Freeman nuts that they think, these wackos, tinfoil hat wearing people. So look at what happens here. He says where it runs into the weeds is where it always does with these people. These people. They drill down ever deeper into legal nuances and only accept definitions which fit their idea. Where the hell have I done that? I'm not saying this is the only definition, but these are pretty widely held definitions. If someone's got a counter one, go for it. But I don't change the definitions. I've been using the same definitions for 20 years. I've got a book called Adventures in Legal Land that proves that. So, again, poisoning the well and basically a straw man because I didn't say that. I like this part, though. I want to go back here. I'm going to say this again. Skepticism is the process of applying reason and critical thinking to determine validity. It's the process of finding a supported conclusion, not the justification of a preconceived conclusion. Now look what he does here. They ignore the experimental evidence, case law, and tradition. What? That's not evidence. Case law is opinion. Opinion. Every case is fact-specific. Case law only settles theoretical issues of law, not practical issues of law. It doesn't say whether just because someone was guilty of a murder in 1850 doesn't mean everybody's guilty of murder. You have to have proof. So it's just an opinion. So here we have an argument from authority. Yeah. Case law, you're talking an argument, you're talking an opinion from an authority figure. An argument from authority, also called an appeal to authority, is a common type of argument which can be fallacious, such as when authority is cited on a topic outside the area of expertise, or when the authority is cited is not a true expert. They're saying it's true just because someone else said it. This is what to then, not only does he have an appeal to authority, that's not experimental evidence. What the hell is experimental evidence anyway in this arena? But it makes it worse. Case law and tradition. They ignore the experimental evidence, case law and tradition wholesale. Yes, just as I'll mention, you will ignore the same damn thing from the popes. Just because the Pope said it was true doesn't mean it is true. And just because a lawyer said it was true, even 100 lawyers, it doesn't matter. That's a proof by assertion fallacy. But he makes it worse by talking about a tradition. They ignore the tradition. Really? Appeal to tradition, also known as argumentum ad antiquatem. Appeal to antiquity or appeal to common practice is a common fallacy. in which a thesis is deemed correct on the basis that it's correlated with some past or present tradition. The appeal takes the form of, this is right because we've always done it this way. So, opinion, argument, and tradition, wholesale. You're damn right I do. Because just like you deny that and you reject it or ignore so-called case law and tradition when it comes to religion, I go a step further and I don't ignore it with your religion being statism. They treat the courts like some Dungeons and Dragons rule book dispute, forgetting the judge is the dungeon master. No, that's why we use things such as Rule 602 to show that the judge is not applying the rules. And I'm not looking into any interpretation other than what this says. A witness may testify to a matter only if evidence is introduced sufficient to support a finding that the witness has personal knowledge of the matter. I don't have some spin on that. I just quote it directly. Watch the videos. I have the direct quote there. I'm not trying to spin anything. So let's go back to this crap. It's embarrassing. Okay. And this legal strategy of getting out of a loophole, it's a 0-day exploit. It might work once if the judge is entertained enough by it, but it is hardly something to rely on. Professional jurists will find a workaround in the service of justice. Yes, because men and women who force you to pay them are in the service of justice. Good going there. Again, what is skepticism? Oh, the process of finding a supported conclusion. Yeah, okay. So he's already got a preconceived notion that they're in the service of justice. Yeah, good luck with that. Let me know how that works out for you. It's not a loophole. Okay? That's like saying the Fourth Amendment is a loophole. It's not a loophole. The prosecution has the burden of proof. The prosecution has to have witnesses with personal first-hand knowledge. If they don't have any evidence, it's not a loophole to have it thrown out. And this garbage, well, it might work once. Really? I've got a call of shame. That is pretty, where we go? I got a call of shame. We've got the success stories that spans well over 10 years of consistent dismissals with the motion being granted, not only in traffic tickets, but IRS stuff. We've done this. This is a drug case right here. Okay? So the fact that this crap that it may work once, no. And it's not just parking tickets or traffic tickets. We've done it with tax cases on 3 continents. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you there, big guy. It only happens once. Once again, if they had just read the article or looked at my website, every single one of these things that I post has the documentary proof showing that the ticket or assessment was thrown out. Every single one, spanning 3 decades and well over 10 years. So, no. Will they find a workaround? Yeah, but how is working around this in the service of justice? How is allowing a witness to testify, especially a witness that we have the judge declaring competent, how in the hell is that a workaround in the service of justice? No. My gosh, these are skeptics? That's why we say pseudo. These are pseudo-skeptics. Okay, now we come down to this crap. That improving the jurisdiction of the court, at least in Canada, is ludicrously simple. Assuming jurisdiction of the court is ludicrously simple, but proving it, what? Skepticism is the process of applying reason and critical thinking. So here, he's saying it's ludicrously simple. The Superior Court or Court of Queen's Bench has authority, there's an assumption, to hear cases for offenses that are alleged to have occurred within the territorial confines of Canada. Oh, part of the information of a criminal offense includes the location of the crime and where the accused was arrested. If B is within A, then Canadian court has jurisdiction. That is what we like to call a non sequitur. You are presuming the argument is true that just because somebody is physically in Canada, that the Constitution and laws apply. Again, if you actually read the articles and you looked at the videos, I have a Canadian law professor, Robert Diab. The man has I'm not saying his argument is right because he has so much education. I'm just saying he is an expert on the interpretation and application of Canadian law. He agreed it was not a matter of evidence and not a matter of argument. It's a blunt assertion of power. He says, I asked him, do these laws apply because you said so or because the prosecutor's evidence proves it? He says, it's because we said so, a mere assertion. So, no, this is a pretty big fail here. You can assume jurisdiction, like you can assume that the Pope is God's messenger on earth. But damn it, you have to have some argument and some evidence to actually prove it's true. You don't just assume if B is within A. You're assuming that just because someone is in Canada, the laws apply. That's pseudo-skepticism, not skepticism. Then we're getting we're starting to get down to where this is just ridiculous. Asserting something to be true, in this case, jurisdiction, is not evidence in the legal sense. This, I think, is the Achilles heel of the argument. What? So just saying something. Bear with me here, people. I'm saying that just because someone asserts something doesn't make it true. He says that's the Achilles heel of my argument. Could you imagine someone who's an apologist for the Catholic Church firing back at a skeptic saying, you saying that just because the Pope says he's God's messenger on earth that doesn't make it true. That's actually the Achilles heel of your argument against the Pope being the God's messenger on earth. And by the way, I'm not a Catholic. I'm just using it as an example. I think this is insane. I think that is the Achilles heel of Mr. Rogers' argument, as we're going to see. It's the Achilles heel of this crap. Just saying something is true doesn't mean it is. That's not the Achilles heel of my argument. My gosh, that is the whole reason. That's the strongest part of it. Because the fundamental attribute of legislation is that a law is what it is stated to be. Okay, this is what we like to call a straw man. I never made this argument. It's not necessary, therefore, to defend the assertion that the written law is the actual law. Again, straw man much. Because there is no distinction between the two. Okay, not an argument I made. Never argue what the law says. It's a matter of is there evidence proving it applies to anybody. Now we get into, again, it's only necessary to provide evidence that the situation is covered by the written word of the law within the range of interpretations placed upon it by precedent. It's not necessary to provide evidence that it applies in the first place. We take a godlike or a religious attitude that it applies as a matter of faith because they said so. No. How about if someone's saying a written instrument applies, there has to be evidence. End of discussion. It's not true just because you say it is. But what really gets me here is this crap. How dare people come out and claim to be a skeptic while putting out crap like this? This is your evidence. This guy's not a skeptic. He may be a skeptic because he's got an axe to grind against religion. Who knows about his upbringing? I don't care. The fact is, the range of interpretations placed upon it by precedent, are you kidding me? How the hell is this skepticism in any way? Yeah, I'm going to have to go ahead and disagree with you there because you could put this in light of and use the same so-called logic with religious scriptures. This, I think, is the Achilles heel of the argument because the fundamental attribute of scriptures is that scriptures are what they are stated to be. It's not necessary, therefore, to defend the assertion that the scriptures are the word of God because there is no distinction between the two. It's only necessary to provide evidence that the situation covered by the scriptures is within the range of interpretations placed upon it by precedent, which would be interpretations given by the Pope. And there's 266 popes in history. in a couple thousand years. Does that mean that what they say is true? No. Apply the same principles of critical analysis and logic to your own preconceived beliefs. You'll come to the same conclusion that I have. So this is just trash. And nobody actually calls him out on it. Somebody doubles down on this crap. Wow. This is range of interpretations placed upon it by precedent. Look, things are not true just because someone said so. We have your appeal to tradition. We have an argument from authority. This is not skepticism. This is just doing whatever you can and making stupid arguments and claims and poisoning the well so you can avoid the actual critical analysis of my position and coming to the ultimate conclusion that I'm absolutely right in what I present in this article and on markstevens.net. If you can show a flaw in the logic and facts, great, do it. But this isn't the way to do it. Yeah, they aren't big on the bit I highlighted. You damn well better believe I'm not, because unlike you, I'm applying the principles of skepticism to your sacred cow. And you are going to start using interpretation? Hey, you got to understand, precedent is just an opinion that maybe have been published for the first time. Like, we haven't had an opinion on this issue in a long, ever. So that doesn't mean it's right. Just because someone says it doesn't mean it's right. Proof by assertion. As a skeptic, you're not supposed to be big on the highlighted part either. Instead, they want to relitigate it fresh. No, that's not what we're doing. But then a problem immediately arises when they get a ruling that disagrees. There's no follow-up on their part. Unlike actual lawyers who can accept decisions from the referee and move on, these folks have put all their eggs in one basket. Well, that's just stupid. It's not even doesn't even warrant a response from me. But that I think takes care of this crap. Pseudo-skeptics not taking one. See, even though this guy cited some of what I was talking about here, he doesn't actually address any of these. He doesn't actually say where any of this is wrong. All he does is go off on the deep end into weeds and something. So if you have a valid argument, if you can show a flaw in the logic that I have presented here, then do so. But if you're going to run into garbage like this, if you're going to go into crap like this, then that doesn't refute anything. Show me where I got the facts wrong. Show me where there's a flaw in my logic, and I'd be more than happy to address it. Hell, if I'm wrong on any of this, you better believe I'm going to correct it. But lumping me in with conspiracy theories, that's really not defeating the argument. So I took a lot longer on this than I would have liked to, but I think it's instructive. But if you disagree with what I presented in this, if you think I was unfair, that these guys actually are skeptics, and this is true, I'm a Freeman sovereign citizen type, hey, we do a live broadcast 4 hours a week, 3 on Saturday, 1 on Wednesdays. I'd love to hear your facts and logic showing where my position is wrong. Again, my name is Marc Stevens. The website is